Jarvis Cross asks, what do you think is going to be the new rage when it comes to new makers, techniques, and tools in the next few years? I have a wish. So, yeah, I'm just gonna, here we go. This arrived this week, my Apple Vision. We are very addicted to our VR here at Tested, and this is a beautiful piece of kit. I'm not gonna do a review of it here, but I love this thing. I'm very, very happy about it. It's like the iPhone 1.0, right? There's so much to be done on it. However, I have started to get this feeling, and I know there are some of these CAD viewers in here, and I haven't spooled them up yet because I just got this a couple days ago, but I feel like there is a possible sea change that could happen in CAD, in the CAD CAM pipeline, that VR and AR could engender. So just to tell you what I think about the CAD CAM pipeline, I think that when 3D printers, I am absolutely ecstatic about 3D printers right now. They've been around for 20 years, but they have only just become appliances. They were almost all prototypes, in my opinion, until very recently, when processing cycles and clever programming and some geniuses figured out ways to make them all accommodate for their own vibration, and we're getting a whole new vista of what's possible from 3D printing. However, if you don't do your own CAD drawings, when you go out there and look at printables and Thingiverse, frankly, I think that there are some good drawings out there, but most of them are really rudimentary. And I don't place that blame on the artisans drawing them. I think that is part of the disconnect or the difficulty of the CAD CAM pipeline, of the how translate something that's 3D in here to something that's 2D here to something that's 3D somewhere else is still a really, really difficult information transition. But if I could do a drawing where I could effortlessly scale myself to the thing that I am making, to inspect parts of it and be able to expand and contract and add details really easily with my hands and spinning around, that may just be the thing that allows us humans to use computer-aided design to draw things for real. I think my impression when I look at the vast majority of drawings out there on Thingiverse and printables is that even when well executed, they still, I feel like, show simplicity artifacts of that I blame the CAD CAM pipeline for. So that, I think, I hope that is one of all the rages, because when we really can more effortlessly translate what's in here to here, all sorts of amazing things will happen. I really believe that. Oh yeah, ADHD Media says, what are your thoughts on starting a monthly book recommendation? Either within the YouTube membership community tab or discussing the books in a full video. This is a great idea. We've talked about it for a long time. One of the stopping points was that I have been reading a lot less over the last few years, mostly because of this thing and all the other things. But that has shifted recently. And a few months ago, I grabbed some Ursula Le Guin short stories, and they really sort of opened a gateway for me again. And I just finished Lee Unkrich's incredible 900-page Shining book. And I think this is a perfect time to talk about my current book recommendation, which is Colson Whitehead's Crook Manifesto. It is, I think it's currently a New York Times bestseller, and deservedly so. It is a spectacular book. New York, Black New York in the 70s. And it talks about living a life of crime, going straight, being drawn back in. The characters are incredibly beautifully drawn. I plowed through it in a matter of days. And I'm often drawn to a style of writing that reminds me of Raymond Chandler. And that's specifically a narrator, whether it's an omnipotent narrator or it's the protagonist, when I'm reading a beautiful wide range of awareness, that is a real specific thing that typifies Raymond Chandler's narrator. That they have, as Chandler said himself, they have a range of awareness that startles you. Colson Whitehead's omnipotent narrator in Crook Manifesto has a range of awareness that is constantly startling to me. And by the way, what a magnificent writer of a turn of phrase. The only other Colson Whitehead book I have read up till now is Underground Railroad, which is also jaw-droppingly beautiful and intense and terrifying and horrifying and ultimately really uplifting. Colson Whitehead, worth your time. So, ADHD Media, thank you for the suggestion. And again, it's something that we have chatted about in the past. I'm the reason it hasn't happened. But I'm inspired by your question, and I'm so inspired by reading that book again. Sorry, not again, but reading that book that, again, I think we will revisit to talk about this. Oh, the ink-inspired life. The ink-inspired life, I see, has asked, do you have a favorite thinking place? I really dig this chair in the corner of my cave. This beat up 100-plus-year-old leather club chair. It's got some flat spots so your drink won't tip over on the armrests. And I obtained it about 10 years ago. I was at a thrift store around the corner here on Valencia Street, and I saw it. We're just looking through the thrift store, and there's this chair. And I turned to my wife, and I was like, dude, that is my platonic ideal of a club chair. Like, in every way. It's perfect for the movie in my head of a club chair. I sat in it. It's gorgeous. And that was going to be the sum total of the conversation I was about to have on that chair when my wife said, you do know that you could exchange money for it and they'll let you take it home, which had not occurred to me at that moment. I did. And it has been with me ever since. And one of the funniest things, earlier in this live stream, somebody asked me if there was anything I found that I was surprised by. No, but I was surprised when I moved everything around and shifted everything that the leather club chair stayed and deserves a place here in this room forever. Like, I do need a place to kind of flop and think about stuff. I do need I hit a snag on the bench, and it's nice to have a place where I can relax and think about things. It's also, I almost don't look at this thing, the phone, when I am working in the cave. I mean, if I get a text, of course, I look at it. But like the pausing to surf the web pretty much doesn't happen here, except for in that chair. And I like having a sacrosanct place where that happens, right? Where if I need a break, I'm going to take a break and go check out Metafilter, see what's being talked about. That happens in that chair. Yeah, that's one of my favorite thinking places. One of my other favorite thinking places is riding the one wheel at night through San Francisco. We've just finished the 21st annual San Francisco Sketch Fest. This last weekend was its final weekend. Cole Stratton and Janet Varney and the team that puts that together, they're just so amazing. I have no idea how they do it and seem like normal humans. It's like 250 shows over 5 weeks. It's crazy. At any rate, whenever I was doing one of the Sketchfest shows, I did 2 at Cobb's and 1 at the Great Star. The best, doing them is really, really fun. I love the riding home at night, even in the rain. And I mostly am on sidewalks when it's raining. I don't want cars behind me. I know that I'm not very visible, so I'm pretty much entirely on sidewalks. If there's a car behind me at all, I just stop and I wait until they pass. But the one wheel moving through a dark city is so quiet and so it's meditative. I do a lot of thinking in that space. Let's see here. Lee Marsh wants to know, with my love of swords, have I tried to learn a sword or a style? He says, in the style of Tai Chi I do, it is said spear 100 days, saber 1,000 days, sword 10,000 days. Pretty accurate, especially learning all the applications. I would love to learn a sword technique, a fighting process. A good friend of mine in Seattle does historical European martial arts training 3 times a week, and he has for a couple of decades. I would love to do that, but there is not a group that does it in San Francisco. I think there's a couple in the East Bay. There's definitely some in the South Bay, but not in San Francisco proper. If you know different, I would love to know about it. Because, yeah, I love the swords. I love the idea of learning how to fight with the swords. And frankly, I'm surprised that the spear is 100 days, because if you want some fun, go into YouTube and look spear versus sword, because like a spear and a shield is a tremendously terrifying opponent. And I believe it like wins against the sword almost hands down. But again, these are fights being had in communities that go very deep and over many decades of discussion and training. So I'm not stepping into that plasma pool, but yeah, I would love to. I love the idea of learning a technique, using it to like move my body around, especially now that it's older. It needs more of that. So if one shows up in San Francisco, I may be going to do that. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to support us even further, you can by becoming a tested member. Details are, of course, below, but it includes all sorts of perks, and we're building them all the time. You get advanced word and behind-the-scenes photos of some of our projects. Questions, you get to ask direct questions during my live streams, and we have some members-only videos, including the Adam real-time series of unbroken, unedited shots of me working here in the shop. They are weirdly meditative. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one.